To ours art class. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thumbs, subs, and ring that bell. So for this video here, we're going to make a sphere. We're going to turn a 2D shape, which is a circle. We're going to turn a circle into a 3D form. We're going to add 4 different parts to that circle. We're going to add the highlight, these halftones or midtones, this reflected light, and this shadow. And so basically we're going to take everything that we learned from making a value scale, and we're going to add all those shades, we're going to add all those values to this 2D flat shape to make it look like a 3D form. So we're going to need some of these darker values here to create the background, and then the shadow, and maybe even some of these mid-range, these mid values here to start making this circle look more like a 3D form. So we're going to use all these values that we created on a value scale. We're going to use all those values to turn a 2D shape into a 3D form. So this is what's going to look like on the right hand side after we're all done and complete with shading and blending different values together. So you're going to need one of these references or resources from the back table, and then you can also use the value scale that you made previously to kind of help you indicate which values you need, which shades you need in order to make your 2D shape into a 3D form. So what you're going to do first is you're going to start out with the circle, and you could start drawing your circle, and you're going to turn this circle here into a sphere. And so you could keep that kind of light there. And so what you want to do is kind of block off maybe these 4 main parts of the sphere. So you have your highlight, you have your halftones or your midtones, you have this reflected light here, and then you have the shadow. So we can kind of draw on the shadow here. And you can maybe block off where your highlight is going to end at, and then you can also block off where your reflected light is going to be. You could even probably draw on the back of the table here, so where the surface is. And what you're going to do is you're going to use the value scale that you made with graphite or with tempera, and you're going to try to figure out, you could even number your value scale, so you could call this maybe 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And so with the value scale you made, you're going to have these different shades here, and you're going to figure out which shade do you need to color in your circle, or what's going to become your sphere. What shade do you need each of these parts to be in order to turn your circle to make it into a more three-dimensional. So basically here at the top of the top right of your sphere, it's going to be about a 1, and as you move down towards the bottom left, you're going to move towards the left of this value scale. So as you move towards the bottom left of the sphere, it's actually getting a little bit darker, and it's moving towards this direction on your value scale. Okay, so what you could do here is you could probably keep this part white, and maybe start adding some graphite here in this section. You could kind of come back with a paper towel, or you could come back with a piece of paper, and the piece of paper will help you blend some of this pencil in to help you get rid of some of those lines. And so basically by the time you get down here to the bottom left, it should be getting darker. You should be moving towards the left side here on your value scale, and you're basically making a value scale but in the shape of a sphere, or maybe like a C shape here. And again, you don't have to try to make it really dark really quick. You could add these layers of graphite little by little. So by the time you get down here to where I blocked off my reflected light, it should be maybe about an 8 or a 9 on my sphere. And again, sometimes I feel like it's a little bit easier to kind of start from the darkest point and then fade to where it actually needs to be the lightest. And you're trying to make this sphere darker, not by how hard or how much pressure you're applying, but how many layers of graphite. Because if you start pressing too hard, then you're going to start getting some of these lines of graphite to start showing through, and it's going to be a little bit more difficult to not blend those in. Okay, so you can kind of see here where it gets really dark and then starts getting lighter in this direction, and I just need to fill this space in here and maybe blend these two parts either with doing less layers of graphite. And I do have some pencil here, but without even adding pencil, I could kind of come in with a piece of paper or a paper towel, blending stump, and spreading around some of that paper there so that you could get this graphite moving around. So by doing this, you're actually helping fill in some of these white spaces, helping spread around the graphite, the pencil that you already have on the paper without applying more. And so you can even fill in the shadow here. It's going to get really dark under the object, and it's going to kind of disperse as you move towards the outside of the shadow. So you would just keep working on this. You would keep adding some more graphite, add your shadow, maybe make it a little bit darker here on the back so that you can kind of see where the table drops off and where the wall begins. So when you're all done blending and shading, your sphere should look something like this. So you could use the paper towel to help you blend some of these values in together. You could probably even darken some of these areas here. So remember, the way that you darken some of these values is by overlapping your pencil in those same areas to make it darker. So try to avoid pressing a little bit harder with your pencil to make an area darker. Try using more value in that area. Try going over that area a little bit more with graphite with your pencil to make some of these areas darker. So this is what your sphere should look like when you're done adding value to your 2D shape and turning that 2D shape into this 3D form. So you're learning how to make things look more realistic. You're adding shadow, you're adding halftones, midtones, reflected light, highlight, all of those things that help you turn a 2D shape into a 3D form to help you draw more realistically, but also three-dimensionally. So if you have any questions of how to blend or how to use your graphite, how to use your pencil, go ahead and let me know. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And feel free to watch any of the other related videos.